So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get started. If anyone else joins, we can keep it going. But just wanted to thank everyone for being here. So today's week one of the Fast Forward Founders course. So the idea for this course is that we're each going to be building our own business, and I'll help you walk through exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it, and most importantly, how to do it. So, with that said, Mike or Shahab, would you be interested in introducing yourself and maybe talking a little bit about the business that you're trying to make? Maybe not reveal any secret details, right? But just generally what you're thinking for this. Thanks.
Companies have tons of data. Most of them don't make a lot of sense out of data. So I was thinking maybe that could be another avenue to look into, like how AI and machine learning can make sense of that data and help them monetize some of it.
That's great. Sounds like both of you have a pretty good idea of what you're looking for. So that's perfect. That's perfect for the course that you have that sort of fundamental understanding. So just quickly about me, and you probably both already know me, but for folks on the line here, I've been running my own business, Universal Grip, for about 10 years, and at the same time doing a corporate job selling LiDAR sensors into automotive and robotics, various other industries. But most recently, I started Fast Forward Founders, and what we do is we help other entrepreneurs build their own business. So we'll just jump right in to week one here. And week one is really all about setting the foundation. So, understanding what type of business we're building and then doing an audit on our time because honestly, we're not going to be able to build this business without making space for it. So, both of you already seem very distinguished in your careers, maybe mid or later, and using your experience and really want to build something for yourself, build something for your family and for posterity. So, what we need to do first is take our full life and carve out some time to have to build a business. Hey Jordan, hey, thanks for joining.
Yeah, hey Frank. Hey everyone.
Hey, we're just jumping in here. We did a quick round of intros. If you're interested, you can intro yourself and a little bit about the business you're building, that type of thing. If you're not sure yet, that's fine. And if you don't want to reveal too many details, that's fine too.
For sure. Yeah, I guess high level intro would be like, hey everyone, my name's Jordan Heisey. I've been in technical sales for about 10 years with a background in engineering. Still trying to determine what kind of products might be the best suited for some kind of business to business distribution model. Obviously here to learn more about that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you're in the right place then, because that's exactly what we're doing. A little B2B distribution, primarily hardware focused. So for week one, it's all about setting the stage for what we're going to do over the next 7 weeks and then for the next several years, of course, as you build your own business, development, start getting customers. So first, what we want to do is focus on the mind and body. So we want to do a time audit on where we're spending our time, and then also start building some winning habits and eventually rolling those into the business. So things like working on the business every day, following up with customers, knocking out checklist items. That's all the stuff we'll get into. So money is like a river, it has to flow. So in all three of your markets, there's already an existing customer base and supplier base. So every day there's already money flowing from the supplier all the way downstream to the customer. So really your job is just to figure out how to build a net to get in between and into that space. And we'll build this net over time and catch more and more customers. So we're not building anything novel here. We're not recreating the wheel. Essentially, what we're doing is just dipping our toe and eventually wading into existing markets. And these markets are already quite big. The three that you had all mentioned are definitely well over $100 million globally annually. So just having a small single percentage market share in those industries will have huge implications for your life, for your business. So that's really the goal. Is just take this existing river of money and start collecting some of the fish that are going downstream. So a little bit of homework for week one, and I do have a checklist at the end of this, so you don't have to write this down. But first, what we want to do is start to identify which product will sell. And you want to think about the product more like a product category. You can start with one thing, but you want that thing to be sort of central to your overall strategy that you can then branch off of. For instance, with Universal Grip, my business, we sell grips and fixtures primarily. That's how we started, accessories for these testing machines. But then over time, we branched into the testing machines, we branched into the sample preparation equipment, and also some of the more advanced video software to record the tests while the test is running. So you want to start with that central theme and then branch out in a spoken wheel type of strategy. So on the school platform, in the classroom section, I have a whole list of products that you can sell. I think all three of you are already somewhat familiar with the industries and products that you need. But if you're completely new and don't know what to sell or what to do, I have these extensive lists. And then with ChatGPT, you can query the AI to start developing some different lists and some different ideas for you. So, Jordan, maybe with yours, it's a little bit more new for you or you're not 100% certain yet. I definitely would recommend going in there and starting to explore different products within your space to pick out some central themes, maybe vision, perception, uh, the computers associated with it, the lighting, any accessories. That's a good place to start. So just think about it. Don't start developing anything yet. Just with a lot of these ideas, they come over time and over long periods of time they settle in, and then your mind subconsciously will formulate the best plan as you're thinking about this, as you're sleeping on it, and just thinking about it for weeks and months, you'll come to a great plan. So that's the product category. And then some more blocking and tackling type of things we should take care of is first is to identify the top 10 competitors in your space. So these are companies that would be similar to yours. Maybe if you envision your company 3 to 5 years in the future, this is a company that you aspire to be, and you want to make a list of 10 of those. And again, ChatGPT or Claude AI or all these other different LLMs are great for finding the competitors. And you probably already know who you're talking about in your industry. So 9 of these are going to be competitors, and one of them is eventually going to be a supplier. And we'll talk about how to get the supplier, I think, in week 3. But for now, just sort of get an understanding of the space that you're in, the different competitors, the dynamics, what they focus on, and especially like the products that they sell into, the industries they sell into, and then envision yourself and what your business would look like inside of that space. And then second, we want to find 10 prospective customers. So again, we're not calling them yet or emailing them or anything. Just kind of identify what a customer looks like. Maybe it's a university, maybe it's an R&D lab, maybe it's a restaurant or hotel. Like you said, Mike, with the robots, maybe it's a hotel chain, or maybe it's a single owner operated hotel. Wherever you think is best to start identifying the 10 prospective customers, and then try to think about it in sort of like an early stage, mid stage, and late stage. So your early stage customers will probably be smaller. They'll be people who are more likely to try the service, more open to different ideas. You're not going to be able to go on day one to like a top 10 customer Fortune 500 company and have the perfect pitch. So you do want to kind of practice a little bit with these smaller customers until you get the offering on point, get all the product, service, and delivery on point. Then you can start really pitching to the bigger customers. But first, identify what a customer looks like for you and identify the competitors. Again, you have these two ends of the river of money. You want to imagine yourself getting in the middle. So this is how you do it. You understand who's on each side of that. Any questions on these couple of exercises here for week one?
None yet. Makes sense.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So the second thing, the second major topic that we want to focus on for week one is doing a time audit of all of our activities. So it's probably very likely that you're wasting time or spending time in a non-optimal way. And when I say sometime, it's probably 10, 20, 30 hours a week that could be focused on the business and on your future. So the best way that I've found to do this is to download this app called Toggle Track. It's free, and what you do is it sits on your phone, and every time you break into another activity, you just hit the play button and it starts recording the time that you're spending on that activity. So say it's work, say it's at the gym, say it's time with family, say it's running errands, anything like that. You just go into your phone and hit that start button. And then since it's on your phone, it's easy to switch between activities because most activities these days center around the phone. So if it's time to go pick up your kids, you might text them. So you go on your phone, you just switch over to your new task. Whatever bucket that you're putting the time into, it'll probably boil down to about 10 different buckets. And you'll have a TV bucket, you'll have a um, time spent with people that maybe you don't particularly care for bucket. You'll quickly identify like where you're spending your time and where your time is not really being fully utilized in the way that you want. And you want to look at this objectively. So don't try to think too much about whether the time you're spending is good or bad. Just take your total hours in the day, including your sleep time, including your get ready time, and just log it. You only have to do this for a week. You can go, if you miss a time slot, you can go and edit back and you can sort of estimate. You don't need to be down to the minute. It doesn't matter that much, but at least 15 by 15 minutes or hour by hour, you want to know exactly where you spent your time for a full week. And do it on a more typical week. Don't do it, obviously, if you're going on vacation or something like that. So you have these 10 different baskets, maybe social media, TV, and then at the end, you'll have a list. So you'll have 30 or 40 hours at work. You'll have maybe 3 to 4 hours a week of getting ready or uh, bedtime routine or all these different things. So that's the time equation. The other thing you want to think of is the habit equation, and habits are not so much time delineated, it's more of a did you do it or not type of thing. Of course, there's a quality aspect to it, if you did something well or not, but generally, habits would be like how many emails did you send out today? Did you work out today? Did you uh, do something for your family today? So this is really like a binary type of situation. So similar to toggle track, we want to define and organize a way to track these habits. And by stacking good habits over time, this is how we build the business. So week one is really before we build the business, we need to build the person who's building the business. And this is the key thing to focus on. If I were to take any four of us and go back in time 20 years, even with all I know about Amazon and Google and Apple and knowing that history, if I were to go back, I probably wouldn't be able to recreate that company simply because I'm not as good as Jeff Bezos. I'm being honest, I'm not that good. I'm not that focused. I'm not that dedicated. I don't have this stuff down like they do. And you need to get to that point before the business gets anywhere. If you are just running a $100,000 lifestyle, your business will be, $100,000. But if you're running $1 million lifestyle in terms of habits, where you're spending your time, what you're focusing on every day, then you'll be able to have that $1 million business. They come at the same time. One doesn't necessarily come before the other, but to build it, you have to focus as if you're already there in terms of your business and your life. So that's why we're focusing so much on habits here in week one. So there's two ways of doing this. One is on your phone with a app called Habitica. This is the best habit tracker that I've found. It's free. You can organize everything into a checklist. You basically just check off the boxes when you do them. At the end of the day, you can see how you did. Feels good checking off the box. And maybe do about 20 or 30 different habits that you try to do every day. They don't all have to be dailies. If they're all dailies, you're going to be like very robotic and hate it after just a couple days. But things like getting up early, when you do that, you want to give yourself credit and also track it. And eventually, month over month, year over year, you're getting better and better at this stuff. So this is a great way to track in your phone if you're more phone based. So at the end of the month, you'll have these like singular scores. You can transfer all of them into Excel and then start to run some analytics on that and then reset them back to zero at the end of the month. So over time, the habits will just become more natural. But to start, it will be difficult to remember what to do, remember the feeling of how to do it. And then also, if something to start takes you 10 or 15 minutes, after a month or two, and after the habit is ingrained into your mind, maybe it only takes 4 minutes or 3 minutes. So you can start doing habit stacking and just get everything, maybe get 3 or 4 habits done in 10 minutes where before it would take 30 minutes. So again, you're reclaiming your time so that you can then focus it on the business, because that's going to be your limiting asset and your constraint, especially in the beginning, is the amount of time you have. Also, the habits aren't set in stone. So over time, you want to revise your habits as seasons change, as the business evolves, as your life evolves. Don't be afraid to go in and just completely erase habits. Like if you're meditating in the morning for 20 minutes, and that's really good to start, but a year or two from now, that 20 minutes could be costing you, hundreds of dollars in terms of productivity. So maybe you reduce that or eliminate it or only do a PM session or just do it every other day. So don't be afraid to revise the habits, especially ones you aren't doing or ones that aren't really aligning with your long-term goals. All right, so an alternative or more advanced method is just to use a habit spreadsheet. And I have uh, not a format, I have a template for this also in the school classroom in the resources section. I just uploaded it, I think, a day or two ago, but it essentially has all of my habits. It has the days of the month, but just briefly, you want to use it as a tracker for just your habits, but also your business. And you want to almost gamify what you're doing every day. So this email section, this would be like a customer response email. So each time you respond to a customer, you log that down. Leads, important. You want to be tracking this. There's all sorts of automated systems to do this, but just clicking like the number 3 at the end of the day into an Excel box is really like nothing. So leads are important. The number of quoted dollars, how much you quoted that day, that's big. The amount of revenue you brought in with new purchase orders, that's big. And then tasks, this could be like business related tasks, maybe different than sending an email. It could be uh, generating a marketing piece, maybe a technical article or a web page, something of that nature. Tasks that really drive the business, the different levers that you can pull to move your business forward each day. So the nice thing about doing it in Excel is that it takes averages and you can go month to month much easier than that Habitica setup. And then most of you will probably be computer based for most of your career doing this, to be honest. This isn't like a B2C type of situation where you're sitting at a coffee shop or you're sitting at an ice cream store that you own and you're going from ice cream store to ice cream store, franchise to franchise, and managing people. You're really going to be managing things like your website, your automations, your products, your data sheets. So it's all going to be computer based. So it's much easier just to have an Excel screen in the corner and to be managing all that. So I'll show you just briefly what mine looks like. And we'll maybe go to January. So at the start of the year, I was doing pretty well with tracking. And then this week, I was traveling for about a week. So I kind of lost track and then got back onto it. But you can see things like when I wake up, 6.5, that would be like 6:30. Just try to use whole number so it's a little bit easier to do averages. Your sleep, how many leads you got in the day, number of tasks, number of emails, number of hours you actually worked on task, the quotes, the revenue, whether you worked out that day, and then getting into like some personal stuff like family stuff, if you spent time with your kids, significant other, if you got outside that day, all those different things. And then at the end of the month, you can take the averages. And then the most important thing I think for this is it also acts as your um, sort of headquarters for your to-do list. So all the different things that you need to do, you can just throw them into your list. Once they're green, you can highlight them as green. That means done. White means you need to do it. Yellow means it's kind of important. Red means it's really important. And what this does is kind of like your headquarters and to-do list. You can put a shortcut for this on your phone. And then when you click on the phone, you can just put something right in for a to-do list. So I logged this February tracker in the course program. So you can break that open and start to work with it, customize it for your needs. But working within this Excel, this is the best way that I've found to stay on point and on task. And then what happens is this eventually develops into your SOPs, playbooks and frameworks for running the business. So longer term, you're going to want to sell the business or pass it on, something like that. Oh, Mike has a question. Yes, Mike.
It's listening. Okay, you're talking about this spreadsheet. I can't see it. Am I the only one?
Oh, sorry about that. I dragged it over, but maybe.
Oh, I can't see it either. I think it's not sharing.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
So I'm not crazy. Okay, good.
you know what? I this whole time I've been sharing a presentation, um, and I'm recording it on OBS so I can see it, and it looks like I'm sharing.
Yeah, now I can see it. Thanks.
Sorry about that, guys. So, um, maybe quickly I'll just go through this since you guys haven't seen this. Um, so we talked about the couple of tools. So this is Toggle Track. This is the app that can track your time. It's free. So just look for that purple icon, Toggle Track. And then Habitica is a way to gamify your habits. And you can see this here. You basically just hit the checklist. And now we're on this habit spreadsheet. So this is an example, just a quick example, just to show you visually. And then the actual spreadsheet is in the course materials program. And this is what mine looks like for January. So I have like my leads that I get every day, when I wake up, when I go to sleep, the quoted revenue. All the important stuff is towards the left where I see it. And then down towards the bottom, I have my to-do list and a couple other sections like my accounts payable section where I write down quickly like where people owe me money, just to get everything in one sheet in one area so you know what's going on in your business. And then what you do is say you're doing something over and over multiple times, you can eventually develop a playbook or a strategy to repeat that. And that's what becomes that's what builds the value in your business, is all the playbooks and strategies, so someone could conceivably come in and run the business without you. Without having that, the business really isn't worth very much because it's founder led and you're so essential. But if you can automate everything, turn everything into processes, explain how to do things to employees, how to train people, how to get customers onboarded, all these different things, that's how you build up the value of the business. And the sample link is in there, so you can grab that. All right, so we talked a little bit about building winning habits. Let's talk briefly about website and website development, and this will set us up for week 2. So week 2 is actually going to be like the week we start. Week 1 is a planning week. We're getting everything down, making sure that we understand where our time's going, what we're focusing on. But week 2 is all about building the website, and that's where we're going to get most of the leads. So customers in the beginning will primarily find you through organic content. The best, safest way to do it without blowing too much money is to just go the organic route. And once organic starts working, after couple weeks, couple months, you know your stuff is converting and you're actually in a real market segment and getting leads, then you can start with the Google AdWords. And that's really when things will start to accelerate. So, what does it mean to be ranked? It means when someone types in a search term or specifically like a question or what's called a long tail keyword into Google, your website pops up on page one. You really need to hit that like first one or two spots. There's a very small percentage of people that go down to like spot 6, 7, 8. And then if you're on page two, you're really just maybe going to get one out of every 100 searches. So you need to have the very best content. The way you do that is you look at your competitor's website and their content and make it better. So when I say make it better, that means having better text, better content, explaining the material better, and then also using good pictures, good video, and I'll explain in the later weeks where to get all those assets. So think about your website, think about the name of your business, think about the URL that your website may have, and you want to make it specific to your business and your industry. So when I started Universal Grip, we sell grips and fixtures for universal testing machines, and I want to make it very clear that these grips could be used on any competitor's testing machine. So that's why I called it universal, because they can work on anything. So you want to be clear. You don't want to just have sort of like some random like street name business. Like you don't want to be called like Blue Mountain Providers or something like that. You want to be intentional about the name of your business. Also think about a logo, and you don't have to generate one. You don't have to be an artist, but think about the letters. Think about the colors. Maybe the colors that you like. Maybe the colors that you like to wear that match your wardrobe. Start to think about the branding and how that will be all incorporated into the website. And then your YouTube channel is also going to be like your second website. Nice thing with this is that it's completely free and it's going to drive traffic to your website. It's also going to drive traffic straight to you if you do it correctly. So YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and having YouTube content that hits the keywords that are specific to your business is going to be huge. And a lot of companies just straight up aren't doing this correctly, especially in this hardware area. They're just completely overlooking this. So your website, you want to think about it a little bit like a spider web. You have this uh, core homepage, and then everything branches off of that. So you have your products, you have your blog. You want to think of your website as an online library full of useful information, and you want to categorize it in that way. So your maybe industry guides, your product pages, they're all sort of talking about the same thing, and they're talking about it in a way that the customer is thinking about it too. So especially early on, where you're also learning about the business, this is the best time to be writing, because you have the same questions that the customer will have. So with a robot, say like, what software is compatible with this robot? What hardware is compatible with this robot? What is in the box when I purchase this robot? What other things do I need to maybe buy? Maybe I need to buy batteries. So what type of battery is best? How do I charge the battery? Like all these sort of operational details, you can include this into your content either through blogs or guides or right on the product page. And then think about it just like a spider web where you have these nodes that are connecting to each other. So your industry guide about how to use the robot is connected to the product page for that robot. Um, and then any accessories that it might need, maybe a power charging station, you have a whole guide about how to use the power charging station, how to select the correct one, and then you point over to your product page, which is more specific with things like specs and maybe pricing if you choose to, data sheets, those types of things. So have it segmented into different silos and then have those silos connect to each other. Do any of you have experience with web development?
I do, Frank.
Okay,
Yeah, I do a little bit too. A little bit. Haven't done a lot, but I have done a couple.
that's good. So the nice thing is that these days with all the web development or the web platforms, website platforms, you really don't need to do any coding. So it's essentially just like making a PowerPoint. And when you start, you can use their AI generators to develop a skeleton structure of the website to start. So they'll put in some pictures and some colors and some branding. You just answer the queries, and within 5 or 10 minutes, you'll have at least a skeleton, and then you start adding different features to it. So I use Wix for all my websites. It's pretty easy. I definitely recommend it. There's other ones like Squarespace and WordPress and a few others. I think there's one called Wistia. I think they do websites. But choose one that you're familiar with. If you're not familiar with any of them, I just do Wix. For Wix, I would use the classic editor because it's easiest. They also have the studio editor, which is more advanced. But we'll get into this in week 2 and week 3, and also how to connect Google Analytics to your website. So you're tracking conversions, you're tracking traffic, all that good stuff. But you can start to think about URL, you can start to think about colors, think about names for the website, and sort of like the basic structure. Like obviously you're gonna have a product page, but maybe your product is more solution based, so they'll need a consultation. But if you're just selling specific products off the shelf, then start thinking about how your product page will look. I have some templates for those, and start thinking about how the library will look. So this is your content, like industry guides, and just how you're going to segment it out. It could be a glossary. With Universal Grip, there's these specific test methods called ASTM tests. And so I've structured the library portion to focus on each ASTM test method. So each one has a number associated with it, and that's a really good way to collect search. But maybe yours could be like robotics for the hospital industry, and then you have an industry guide, and that's like 2,000 words. You use ChatGPT to put most of it together. You put a bunch of pictures up there that you found maybe from videos or all over the web, and that's how you start developing out your content on your site. All right, a little bit more on design structure just to kind of hammer it home. All right, so you have your home page, and then everything links off of that. How-to guides, blogs, frequently asked questions, your library. Pages are connected laterally, so your product page will connect to your industry guide page, and then those both will connect to the home page. So think logically about how all this is going to connect, and then think about how it's going to branch down as it gets more and more specific on the content. Any questions on website structure?
Nope.
Great, great. All right, so we're just about done with week 1 here. I have a couple activities that you can complete, and the checklist for this is all going to be in the resources or materials section in the classroom on the school platform. So think about what product you're going to sell, top 10 competitors, do that exercise, top 10 prospective customers. Set up your habit tracker, and also set up your time tracker. You want to track all of your time for this week one. We only have to do it once. You only have to do it for a typical week. You can do it for a day, but often a lot of days aren't exactly the same. But after doing it over a week, you'll understand like what a week looks like for you. And then I also have an Excel checklist. If you want to get a head start on some of the future weeks, you can start setting up all of your accounts and logins. And most of these are going to be free. So things like your YouTube account, your UPS and FedEx account, your business checking account. That'll be a little bit later that you actually need that, but you can get started with this stuff earlier. So there's about, I think, 20 or 25 accounts that you'll need to run a business. All the different logins, all the different things you need, like your email. I have FedEx, UPS, Post Office, DHL. There's a whole list. I have the list on there. Also, for week one, you can start setting up your one-on-ones with me, and then I can go dive deep and we can actually talk about your specific business that you're building. I can advise and help. Basically, whatever you want to do with that hour. If you want that hour to be a co-work hour where we both are working on something, maybe I can even generate content for you, start building your website alongside you. Whatever is most helpful for you on that hour. So I have a Calendly link on my website. I can also send it to you guys, or you guys can just email me directly and we can set up those one-on-ones. And then also I'll send out my cell phone number. I'll send it in the school messaging. So you'll get a private message with my cell phone number. I think most of you already have it, but I'll send that out. So you can text me anytime with questions. So the very next thing to do so you don't get lost, go straight to the classroom and download the week one checklist. And then check off all of those things. And then I have a colorization in there. Red basically means you don't know what to do and you haven't heard of the task. You literally know nothing, but you have the task sheet, so that's marked as red. Yellow means you know it, you know what to do, you just haven't completed it yet. And then green means you completed it, it's all set up, you understand it, you've done it yourself, and you're completely past that point. So mark it red, yellow, green. Anything that's red that you really just don't understand, ask me in the one-on-ones or send me a text. Or you can also go into the chat, in the Fast Forward Founders chat, the group chat. But if it's something that's more private, you can just email me or message me directly. All right, guys. Any final questions for week one? We got a good idea of next steps here.
I think so. This is good. A lot of stuff to look at here. Get started with. Thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm all set for now. This is a great kickoff. Appreciate it, Frank.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what you guys eventually build. And then I'm here to help. So don't be nervous about contacting me to help. I've set aside time in my calendar to help each one of you develop your business. So reach out, use the time, use me as a resource, and yeah, we'll get started building. Week two is going to be a little bit more technical, a little bit more operational. We'll actually start getting stuff online by week two. All right. With that, I'll see you guys in the school community. And other than that, have a great afternoon. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Frank. Talk to you later.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. See you.